So on Facebook, Goao.
Goao, I like the name.
Yeah, so on Facebook, Goao asks, I have a question for your next video on the couch. Can you suggest which country in the islands is best to visit for a week or so when in New Zealand? I want to see something different before flying back home.
All right, so we are talking about traveling in the South Pacific Island.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. So if you do want something really different, New Zealand is actually a really cool, it's a really good hub to explore the South Pacific Islands. So we're talking about countries like Fiji, Vanuatu, French Polynesia, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Tonga. You know, there's so many. Cook Island, there's just so many. All those things that you usually see on Blue Planet. If you ever watch Blue Planet and they talk about the corals or you know, those kind of things, or the crabs or something, they usually talk about those places in the world. So they just look like paradise, and New Zealand is a great place to actually just, you know, get to explore those those areas. So if you make your way all the way from Europe and you fly all those hours, you may as well take a couple of hour flights and go visit one of those places. And on top of it, the flights and the life over there is usually pretty cheap, so you can do a week over there for, like, you know, about $1,000.
It's
that's
kind of like
awesome.
It's kind of like taking a holiday away from your holiday in New Zealand. It's
which is pretty cool.
Pretty
so
nice.
Obviously there are plenty of them to travel, and we've been lucky enough to actually go and check out quite a few of those. And it's a good life here in New Zealand. So here are the places that you should definitely consider if you want to take a holiday from your holidays. All right, let's start with Australia.
Well, you go with Australia.
All right,
Australia. You've been there.
All right. So Australia has a lot of, like, you know, good paradise-looking kind of islands. One of the main areas, like very famous for just taking an island break, is the Whitsundays. This is kind of places where scuba divings are very popular. You can get like those cruises around the Whitsundays for, like, you know, 3, 4, 5 days, and it's basically just everything you want. You want out of that. A bunch of young people, way too much alcohol. Music is really loud, and the surroundings looks absolutely gorgeous. The water is turquoise, so if you want to jump in it won't be cold. So that's a pretty cool place to go visit. Then you get places like Cairns, which is on the land, but they have you know, they have some surfing, basically some surfing areas. And you also have Alice Springs, which is more inner Australia. This is where you have the whole place like Uluru, with those really big orange rocks full of you know, beliefs and significance for the local tribes. So it's really awesome to visit that place as well. So there is plenty of things to do in Australia. So taking a holiday from your holiday in Australia, I know it's a little bit cheating. It's not cheap like the other South Pacific islands we're going to talk about, but it's something that a lot of people do. So Australia, boom, done, out of the way. Let's move on.
Okay, so let's get on to the smaller sort of South Pacific islands that you can visit. And I think one of the probably most popular places is Fiji. This is made up of 333 islands, and they are all absolutely stunning. There's beautiful white sand beaches, you know, swaying coconut palm trees, all the glistening sort of crystal clear waters, coral reefs where you can go scuba diving, snorkeling, swim with manta rays, see turtles, and go fishing. You can go, there's actually quite a lot of inland activities you can be doing as well, because they do have a couple of larger islands, and there you can go and do whitewater rafting. You can go and do like jet boat river tours, kind of similar to New Zealand.
Actually, in Fiji, there is an option to jump on the plane, go skydive and land on the island where you're going to be staying the night. And it's basically it's just an awesome way to arrive somewhere. I think it's so cool.
Exactly.
Anyway, so you can get a lot of stuff.
So there's more to Fiji than meets the eye, basically. You do have all those beautiful paradise islands, but there's a bit of adventure to be had there as well. So a really cool place to go and actually plan your trip for Fiji is FijiPocketGuide.com. And that basically just makes it so much easier to organize your trip. And there's a lot of information about Fiji, so make it as easy as it was to come to New Zealand.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now the next one on the list is Vanuatu. So I was already thinking about another one.
Oh, yeah.
The next one on the list is Vanuatu. Now, so this is one of the French islands. So they do speak English over there, but they also do speak French. So bonjour, Vanuatu. Now, Vanuatu is really famous for all its volcano. It's a very volcanic country. It's a very raw and rough country. It's really awesome. But it has the support of the French government. The facilities over there are really good. So it's a very safe place to travel as well. So a lot of people like pick Vanuatu for that. It's a mix of like all the volcano, the paradise-looking beach, and a little bit of French culture. So the food is really good, compared to other places like Australia. But yeah, so there is all this combination right now that makes it for a very unique experience. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a place like Vanuatu. So it's a mix of so many things, and yet it works. It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
And the wildlife also is really amazing. Like, there is a lot of obviously beautiful marine wildlife, some great coral to swim in, but there is also a lot of bird life. The birds that are super colorful, like all those Paradise Island birds, basically. It's quite an amazing place to visit. So Vanuatu is definitely on the list as well.
Yeah. Another really awesome one to go to is Tonga. Again, Paradise Islands, lots of beaches, a lot of palm trees, crystal clear waters, but probably one of the highlights of Tonga is going to swim with whales. This is probably one of the very few places in the world where you can actually legally go swim or snorkel with whales. Imagine that. It's definitely a bucket list activity. So if your dream is to get in the water with whales, then Tonga is the place to go. Moving on to another set of islands, the Cook Islands is often compared to be very similar to New Zealand because they have the Cook Island Maoris. Their culture is very similar to New Zealand, but it's more obviously tropical. It's a tropical paradise. So if you really loved your experience in New Zealand, you want to see sort of something quite similar, quite familiar, so you don't get too much of a culture shock, then the Cook Islands is a good place to go and get that sort of holiday experience on the beaches and go snorkeling, get some of that culture as well. That's another really awesome destination.
And the next one is French Polynesia. So French Polynesia is, well, as the name says, it's also another French island. So if you kind of want to visit, visit a place that will be, what would be Europe under the palm trees? That's exactly what it is. It's another really big clash of the culture, and it also has access to amazing wildlife, especially marine wildlife, as well as beautiful birds and forest and all of that. So it's a really, really cool place to visit. Now, almost all those places have really cheap flights to go to it, but you will realize really quickly that it's cheap flight to go to there, because coming back, the flights are usually twice the price. So know that if you find it $200 flight toward Fiji, for example, your return will probably about $360. So keep that in mind when you plan your trip. It's the number one tip I will tell you. Don't think that if you find a flight which is $200 to go to Fiji, it will be $200 to come back from Fiji. So plan accordingly. But all those places are actually reasonably cheap to visit. The flights are reasonably cheap to get, and they're all very easily accessible, especially from Auckland. But there is also quite a few flights from Christchurch as well that can head toward the island. So definitely worth considering when taking a trip to New Zealand, visiting one of those amazing paradise islands. I think, you won't be disappointed, I can tell you. It's absolutely amazing.
So we do have articles on BackpackerGuide.NZ, which talks about all those islands that we've mentioned, and as well as some guides and where to find like cheap accommodation and activities at each of those islands. So we'll make sure to link that in the description below when we do the rebroadcast of this video.
There you go.